So I had this idea to make a weekly address. You know, the president does this on the radio. Not that I'm on the level of the president. There's newsletters that come out, from whoever is organizing this group or that group or whatever. And not that I consider you guys just that. But there are things on my heart often, things I end up praying about, things I talk to some of you guys about, and I think it would be really great to have everybody hear about this, but it's not really the same thing as a message. So it's not something that I want to preach about or whatever. And so I thought about this weekly address, a little 2-minute blurb to just kind of share something that's on my heart, or maybe Jenny or Laura do the same thing, or maybe one of you might come to me and go, I think that our group really needs to think about this or hear about this. I want to encourage them with this or challenge them with that. Let me know. We'll put you on the schedule in the weekly address. So you're going to be getting one of these, I don't even know how I'm going to get it to you, Facebook or something, hopefully once a week, and hopefully only about 2 minutes. This one might be a little longer, though, because of that introduction. What's on my heart tonight? We just had The Rage, and if you were here, you probably know that there's a lot of drama and even a fight that broke out and stuff like that. And I know that happens in junior high world, and even though it always grieves me. But this time, really just thinking of all the factors that led up to this and all that went on from it and how people reacted after it was over. And I think this is just going to continue and escalate even on the campus. As you are hearing this or seeing this, it might be the day after, and maybe it's true, maybe it already happened today while you're at school and in reaction to all this stuff. And some of you are in high school and you go, why do we even care? Because I think it goes on at your campus as well and in your life as well. And that is the whole principle of us feeling like we're justified in reacting a certain way or saying a certain thing or being vindictive or responding in a defensive posture. And the sad thing is, once we do that, we're heading down a cycle of experiencing relationships in life in the opposite direction of how God designed us to live. And we're heading toward slavery, we're heading toward captivity, rather than freedom and life and fullness of it. Jesus said that the thief came to steal and kill and destroy, and this is one of the ways that's happening. And I'm not just talking about bumps and bruises and what happened in a fight, although I'm concerned about that. But it's really broken relationships, and it's really living in fear, or living in anger, or living in hatred, and grudges and bitterness and animosity and all that just nastiness and ugliness, and that's not the way we're to live. And it made me think of a couple of examples in the Bible. One being the woman caught in adultery and all the anger and hostility that was raging around that group of people at that time, and Jesus' response to just be in thought. And I think is the thought when he stooped down and drew in the dirt, I think that was just sadness and just thinking, wow, this is the way these people live, this is the way these people think, and how do we get here? And then with his genius remark afterwards, and he said, well, whoever's without sin, throw the first stone. And of course that quieted the crowd, and they hung their heads, and one by one they dropped their rocks and walked away, because they knew they had no right. Nobody was innocent in that. Nobody was without guilt in that. And to respond just in that little bit that they felt justified in, that little piece that they were hanging on with this was a wrong that I've got a right, it was just, it was nonsense at that point after Jesus said that, and they knew it. And then thinking about the life of Christ himself and how many times he was assaulted and accused of things, and he was persecuted, and his response every single time when it was an offense to him was of grace, was not defensive, to be silent, all the way to the point of death, and that his life is a model for us to live. So if you're a believer watching this, just a challenge and an encouragement for you to think about your life and your relationships, and do you really live that by faith? And it requires faith to say, I'm not going to respond to that. I'm not going to. I may be humanly justified in that, But really, in the big scope of things, I'm not. I'm guilty like anybody else. The only one who ever had the right to respond like that was Jesus, and he never did. He chose not to because that was the wiser thing to do. That's how I want to live. I don't always do that. That's how I want to live. So I want to encourage you to live that way too. Next week's might be a little more fun. This one's a heavy one. Sorry. Have a good day.